in your body naturally. So, inflammation is the root cause of quite a few diseases and problems and aches and pains in our body. So, what exactly is inflammation and how can you reduce this naturally? So, we're not talking about medication, etc. here. We just talk about natural things you can do in your everyday life to reduce this inflammation. So, what exactly is inflammation? Inflammation has five signs. So, one is pain, the very first one, and the one that we are all aware of. Second is loss of function, swelling, redness, and heat. So, when an area is inflamed, you will see that you might have swelling in that area, you might have pain, redness, and because of all this you will have less function in that area. Now, it's not necessary that all of this has to come like at one go. It can be in bits and pieces or in steps. Now, before we dive into the topic further, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Swati. I'm an executive mom power coach, and I help mums of younger kids who work in high stress executive jobs, and I help them to manage their aches and pains that come with the motherhood journey. Now, what does that mean? We are talking about spinal pain and joint pain, for example, your neck pain, back pain, heel pains, poor posture, because of which you can have incontinence or urinary issues. Now, all this usually stops us from being productive at work. It stops us from being a guilt-free mummy. I don't know if that term is even applicable anymore. I don't think any mum can be guilt-free, but anyway. So I help you take care of these aches and pains so that you can manage your job, you can manage being a good 100% present mom with your children. I give you a simple exercise tips and tricks that you can manifest in your everyday activities. You don't have to take out like a chunk of your time for this. Now, going back to into sorry, going back into our topic for today, how do you reduce inflammation naturally? Now, the very first thing I would like to say is there are two kinds of inflammation. One is acute and one is chronic. So, acute inflammation is when you have a cut or a bruise, or say you've fallen down, you scraped your knee, right? So, how many times does it happen? Our kids fall over, they scrape their knees, they come back with that redness and swelling in the area. You apply whatever medication, etc., you have to do, and then after a few days, it's all gone, right? So that is acute inflammation. It does not stay for long. That's just the acute part of it. Chronic inflammation is another story altogether. Now, chronic inflammation, maybe when your acute inflammation has stayed on for quite a few days. And chronic inflammation is what we are addressing today, really, because I mean, acute inflammation, you can do your ice pack, rest, etc., and manage it. But chronic inflammation is something that, if not managed well, can manifest in different ways. Autoimmune diseases, diabetes, heart problems, arthritis, other bone issues, disc issues, just spinal issues. It can manifest in many, many different ways. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. So, what is the first thing that you can do? As moms, we have all experienced sleep deprivation, right? We all know that when we are moms, usually, obviously, in just the days after your childbirth, the little baby, you are up in the night multiple times with the baby. Even in the toddler years, this can continue. You're lucky if it didn't for you. For me, it did. Younger kids, issues like growing pains, nightmares, etc. So, what I'm saying is, as moms, we have a lot of sleepless nights, and sometimes this becomes a routine. Maybe because your body has gotten so used to do this, or maybe because you've got stresses at work, right? When you're working as executives, you're working in high stress jobs, it can be stressful, or it could be that you have your problem. I mean, kid has problems at school, and then you're stressed. Whatever the reason, when you don't sleep well, it can take away that healing from the body. Well, let me put it more in better words. What happens is when you're sleeping, this is when all your body systems are like in a state of limbo. So your body is actually now working to replace the dead cells, to reduce the inflammation, to help your body to recover from whatever damage has been done throughout the day, from the wear and tear, from disease processes, etc. When you don't sleep well, your body is more busy with other things and it cannot reduce the inflammation so much. So, sleep is very, very important when you're trying to reduce inflammation in your body. When I say reduce inflammation, think of all those diseases. And if you have any of those, which in modern days, everybody has got something or the other, right? So, this is where sleep is very essential. Second is your diet. Now, this diet word has been used time and time again. However, it is very important to eliminate the junk, the sugar, and processed food from our diet. Now, sugar is something that obviously tastes good, and it is, I would say, I would equate sugar to a drug addiction. You want to have more and more of it, and the more you have, the more you crave it. So that is the reason you cannot stop at that one piece of chocolate or that one serving of ice cream. You want to and you need to have more and more. So what do you do when somebody has an addiction? Either you cut it off completely, you go into withdrawal, you manage it, or you slowly reduce it to zero. And that's exactly what you need to do with your sugars. Now, I'm not getting into the details of this. I'm sure there are like a million videos on YouTube out there, or on the internet out there, how to do it. This is just to give you an idea of how bad sugar can be. And sugar is one of those things that creates a lot of inflammation in your body. Second is your processed food, your white flour, etc. Try and replace the white flour with more healthier options like whole wheat breads, etc., sourdoughs, more healthier versions, slowly and gradually. Processed food, we all know anything that comes out of a tin as opposed to something that you are cooking from scratch is always, I mean, there's a drastic difference between the two. Hey, I'm not a dietitian here. This is just something that I've learned along the way as a mom. I have been in that space where I've been eating all this to the space where I try and cook my own and healthier food, eat healthier food now. So that is another thing. The third thing that I wanted to address is exercise. Now, this may seem a bit contradictory because we all know exercise is good for us, it releases endorphins, it keeps us healthy, etc. But when you have chronic issues, I mean, inflammation, for example, if you have arthritis, how do you exercise? Isn't it going to flare up your arthritis? So, if you're looking at osteoarthritis, say it's your knee joint that has got osteoarthritis, look for an exercise that you can do uh, in, say, in proportion to what your pain is. So what I mean is, suppose you go for a walk for 20 minutes and you're walking at a fast pace and you come back and your knee pain flares up, so maybe do 15 minutes at the same pace next day. If it still flares up your pain, maybe keep that 15 minutes constant and reduce your speed of walking. See if that still hurts. And that is how you slowly reduce the intensity of walking or the time of walking. One of those. Do not try and reduce both the parameters together because you wouldn't know what has made a difference. So once you've done that, you have found what's your comfortable speed and pace of walking and time of walking, then you gradually build it up from there. So what happens is when you exercise, your muscles are stronger, there's more movement around your body. There is, the muscles are quite strong, they can support the joint better. And of course, when you have this, you will not be introducing any more inflammation, or you will be introducing only a minimal amount of inflammation into your joints with that walking or that exercise. So the three elements that I addressed here was your sleep, food, and exercise. So it might sound really simple, but it's not. I mean, it sounds really simple. It's been overused, but still people don't do it. So, hey, what's stopping you, right? Now, I am talking about all this because I have tried it myself. I can see the results. I have very bad knees. For example, I mean, one of the issues with my knees is I have menisci that are quite degenerated for the last 20 plus years. So I know that if I do not take care of my knees, I am going to get arthritis in the future. So, if you are interested in knowing more about how to reduce inflammation in your body, feel free to jump into this 11-day challenge that I'm doing. I will leave a link in the description of this video. If you're watching me on Instagram, I will leave a link in the comment of this video and you can message me for the details and I'll be happy to provide you that. Alrighty, I hope this was useful for you and I'll see you guys next time. If you have any questions for me, please drop them in the comments and I'll pick it up from